when the Guinness World Record company called me and told me what the restrictions are going to be for 250 people, I was thinking to myself, I could do this. But the day of the event, and you're only counting 176, 182, 203, and we're literally 18 minutes away from having to take off, you start feeling that sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach. You hope that the weather reports are wrong. You hope that there are no accidents. You hope that everybody remains safe. You hope that this thing is actually going to take off the ground and become somewhat of an annual event that people are going to want to come back to every year.
Who's getting paid here? So I can tell you that as you left, I watched to make sure you were all on Indian motorcycles. As you were coming back in, I clicked you off to make sure you counted. You needed to break 250. You had today in St. Paul, Minnesota, USA. I can't go anywhere else with that. I can't, no. You had 265 bites as a new best world record. All right, come on up.
I think what made Indian Motorcycle Bike Week, it was an event that was long overdue. And so to throw the Guinness World Record setting event into the mix altogether made it even more special, aside from the fact that we had people in from all over the country, from all over the world. And I think this event is just going to keep growing. So coming out of Indian Motorcycle Bike Week of 2016, that's when I realized that we needed to expand a little bit more in everything that we were doing in our efforts, because we received a lot of moral support, a lot of pats on the back, and the one thing I didn't want to do is let anybody down. But I quickly started assessing and reassessing how I was going to do Indian Motorcycle Bike Week the next year. So the goal this year was to break the record that we set last year. And we want to do this on a yearly basis. We want to give everybody the opportunity to be able to say, I helped set a Guinness World Record. It's not every day that people have that opportunity. For a lot of people, that's a bucket list item, and you don't have that opportunity every day to either set or break a Guinness World Record. And I invite anybody to compete against that, because if there's anybody that's going to break that record, it's going to be us.
I'm Wayne. I'm from Anoka, Minnesota.
My name is Helen Wolf. I come from Windsor, Ontario.
My name is Don Verba, and I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
My name is Randy Verdun. I'm from Denham Springs, Louisiana.
I'm Tamara Smith. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
So my name is Václav Urban. I'm from Czech Republic, from Europe.
My name is Gary Crawford, and I'm from South Bend, Indiana.
My name is Beverly Smith. I'm from Houston, Texas.
My name is Felipe Rodriguez, and I'm from Denver, Colorado.
My name's Terry Scott. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
My name's Gary Drawl. I'm from Grand Marais, Manitoba, Canada.
My full name is Truman Ritchie. I'm from Elkhart, Indiana, and I'm here.
Indian Bike Week happens right around my birthday, and I've been after my husband. You know, I want to go. I want to take my Gitchy Girl, that's the name of my 2016 Scout. I said, I want to take Gitchy Girl, and we'll take your Roadmaster, and we're going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records.
This is my first year with Indian Bike Week, and I tell you what, I've met so many great people here.
I've had the Indian motorcycle for a year and a half, and I didn't get to make it last year for the first year. So my friend just bought an Indian in November, and I said, good, now we can go to Bike Week.
I did hear about it last year. Too late to make plans to come out here, but I followed the Facebook all year. Right after Christmas, I decided I was coming.
It's just a warm, fuzzy feeling, kind of, you know? I mean, this is my first year, so I really don't know anybody except for the people at the dealership, and I've just met the most wonderful people.
That's why I came back again this year. I met so many friends and stuff, and it was such a good time, and I thought, you know, it would be fantastic to see that many more Indians break another record. I had to come back.
I like the way how Art is working with Facebook, with the people on Facebook. He's kind of responsive, he's doing smart posts, etc. He was somehow attracting me to join the Bike Week because there are many other events in US which you can join. But the decision was immediately, you know, for that kind of event, and I'm happy that I did it because so far I like it very much.
Social media was very detailed of what was happening, so it's nice to follow all the events every day, and I think it's very well organized. So last year I was just thinking I'm missing it, so that's what I'm here now.
Personally, it's my very first memory of seeing a motorcycle. I was about, about 7 or 8 years old. It was during this solar eclipse, and we were at this roadside motel, you know, like everybody else with our big, the big periscope thing, you know, to watch the eclipse. And I hear this rumbling out of nowhere, and this big green monster comes pulling up, and I just see Indian all across the gas tank, and this burly looking biker dude on it, and I was just standing there in awe. And the guy looks at me, gives me a wink, and he throws me the keys and says, go ahead and take it for a spin. But that was my first memory of a motorcycle, was the Indian.
My dad always wanted an Indian. He saw one, had a chance to buy it. He passed on it, and he regretted that. And I remember that. You know, it wasn't until more recently that Indians were available again, and he's gone. But I'm kind of carrying on that tradition of always wanting something and it wasn't available, and now it is, and now I have one, and it's just cool.
It is the nostalgia. So originally my dad, when he got out of the service, he had I think it was a 46 Chief, and he rode that, and then he ended up losing it, thanks to my grandfather. And then when I got out of the service, I decided I wanted to have an Indian too.
Just the Indian name alone, the connotation brings, you know, freedom, wind in your hair, you know, you're arms up and you're riding down the highway. That's what I pictured in my mind when I hear Indian motorcycle.
My father owned a 47 Chief, and I rode as a small child on the front of his Chief, and I lost him 3 years ago. Everybody in my family, they know how my dad, he was obsessed with Indian. He had an awesome bike. Everywhere he went, people would stop him, and it was customized. It was beautiful, and he got a lot of attention. So he really, you know, he worshipped Indian, and so now I am following in his footsteps. I'll always ride Indian.
I started the Ride for Children's School Supplies, I believe I started it back in 2003. It just grew into something that is now today a Guinness World Record setting event, and hopefully turns into a world breaking event. But I never forgot, you cannot have these kind of events without the people. One thing I took notice was the amount of people with military background that not only came to enjoy Indian Motorcycle Bike Week and set a Guinness World Record, but how many of them wanted to meet somebody that could be considered a hero. Last year in 2016, I had seen the movie 13 Hours. One of the people that was caught in the Benghazi incident, being a consultant on the film, had also started his own charity to help vets going through PTSD. I looked up the organization, which is the Shadow Warriors Project, and was able to get through to Mark Geist and invited him to our event last year. It was an entry into trying to help out vets and trying to help out first responders, because Mark was also a first responder. Mark was gracious enough to come and visit us last year. So we decided this year to help Mark out with the Shadow Warrior Project by getting in conjunction with Indian Motorcycle and having them approve clothing and memorabilia that also helped both our charity and the Shadow Warrior Project, and also will help us expand into helping the military and the first responders.
As a biker, the freedom I enjoy, that I'm allowed to enjoy on my motorcycle, I only have that because of the veterans who have sacrificed for that freedom.
It is such an honor to be able to show some respect and support for our military. It's that I love riding. There is no other feeling than knowing you're riding for a group of people that have laid down their lives for us.
Half of these people here, actually probably more than that, are veterans or loved ones of veterans. And when I was in the Marines, we used to do Toys for Tots, and this is very similar to that with the school supplies. So what better way to ride with fellow Indian riders than to give to other kids that need that stuff?
I was in the Air Force from 83 to 87, and that's another big thing between the military things that he does with Bike Week and helping the kids with school supplies. I think it's a good event that I don't mind spending money to get here and doing the rides and everything.
I couldn't be more proud to be part of something that honors veterans and active and retired military.
Not only as a rider, but as an Army vet, coming here and knowing that part of the money that we're raising this week is going to help the families, it's just awesome.
I got really excited when I saw a YouTube video with a guy playing 3 strings on a guitar that looked like a shovel, and come to find out it was actually 3 strings on a shovel. It sounded like there were 2 or 3 guitars playing, but it was just this guy, and to me it just blew me away, and I knew immediately that I needed to get that guy to come to our event.
Well, you know, Art gave me a call, and he said he's been listening to my music, really enjoying what he was hearing and seeing, and wanted to make it part of this event.
This is going to be one of the musicians in the very near future that I probably won't be able to get again.
Well, you know, I play a lot of conventional instruments, but I love to find the most unusual thing I can do and figure out how to do it well. And, you know, with roots instruments, I call them roots instruments, homemade instruments, however you want to think about it, DIY. It's just this philosophy, and it's a philosophy a lot of people have, where they don't want to be confined by whatever the norm is around them. They want to break the rules, they want to explore new territory and new frontiers, and that's what I love to do with music. And I think a lot of the instruments I play, like the shovel guitar, you know, different roots instruments like that, that's what people love about it, you know. It reminds them that they don't have to do what someone else does. You know, you can make up your own rules and try something daring.
Justin Johnson really is a talent, and they call him the Wiz for a reason. You got to check out his stuff. It's really cool.
Dan, do you remember an actress named Mira Leal? Who? Mira Leal. She was in the movie with you and you made love to her. Please don't tell me she wants child support.
This year, Danny Trejo comes back for the 3rd time, so we're We're lucky to have Danny back, and the guy has the youngest spirit, and he's a big man-child in a legendary actor's body.
You know, one of the blessings of Hollywood, you're able to make somebody's day with a picture or a hello or a hi or waving at somebody. You know, think, wow, you know, and for me, it's a blessing. You know, it's just an absolute blessing to be able to like see a kid and it's like just blown away because he's looking at me and he's seen me in Spy Kids, you know, and he's trying to put it together. He saw me on the TV last night and now I'm standing in front. So for me, it's a blessing, you know, I mean, and for me to say hello and for me to take a picture, that's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do, you know what I mean? And it's just a job I love doing.
This year, again, we have Emilio Rivera, who played Alvarez on Sons of Anarchy. I feel will definitely have an impact in the motorcycle community, and the fact that he's actually here to help us raise money for charity and for kids, and knowing now that he's also a vet, I mean, that to me speaks volumes.
Well, you know what, I think, I mean, as far as I go, anything that has to do with the kids, military or animals, I'm always there, bro. You dig what I'm saying? It's very important. You know, the kids are our future, and the military is why we're free. You dig what I'm saying? So we gotta support them all the time. Yeah, with the kids, though, they're our future, man. And you know, we're lucky. What we got, we get what we get when we want to, and sometimes we take that for granted. You know, so when we can give back, we give back.
It makes me feel good, man. You know, when I was younger, I was desmadroso. You know what that is? You know, I did a lot of damage. You know, now. It feels so good to give back.
The nice thing that happened this year was to hear people say that they made this their vacation. You know, when you have people that come the first year but don't make it the second year, your hope is that by the third year, since the first 2 years were a success, that they come back again. Unfortunately, sometimes there's people that just can't make it. Somebody that I formed a very good bond with was a gentleman named Tony Castillo. I remember talking to him about a week or two before he passed away, and he kept telling me, I'm gonna make it even if I have to come up in a wheelchair. It was very tough one day when I sent him a message and find out that his daughter Chelsea answered. After talking with Tony's daughter Chelsea, I just threw it out there that it would be great if she just came out and paid homage to her father.
Well, it's my first time out here, you know, and we're out here doing it for my dad, Tony. He was here last year. So that's what's important to me, is doing it for him and keeping his legacy going. I think that's just really important for us, you know, because we got to be a part of something that my dad did. So it made it even more like of a big deal, you know, something that we get to like cherish forever, another memory. We didn't get to do it with him here last year, but you know, we got to do it for him this year.
It was so important for her to come out, and I loved that she brought his motorcycle. And Tony was there, you know, he was there with his daughter, he was there with his nephew, and he was there with his bike.
Well, we lost a rider at the end of June. He was a close friend of many of us, including myself, father, brother, you know, friend. He was one of the good ones. His name was Dan Thornton, and he belonged to the Scottsdale IMRG group in Arizona. One of the funny things he used to say, he had a red Chieftain, and he would always say, red makes the bike go faster. You know, so he was a character. He would say things that you would be, you know, you know how like, you know, you're at church or something like that, and somebody does something, and just because you're there, you know, that much funnier. That's the way Dan was. He always would pick the most inopportune times to say something crazy, and it was just like you were embarrassed and laughing your butt off at the same time. And that's why it just took the breath away, especially those that were in his group.
Well, this year's bike week started out rainy, And so at the beginning of Bike Week 2017, it was disheartening to know that it was going to rain again. But again, looking at the forecast, it actually showed promise towards the end of the week. You kind of go back and hope that it's not going to be a repeat of the previous year, because if the second year you get the same weather, it's just going to scare off people for the third year.
How are you? Okay, so I am very glad to be back. We are going to go over a couple rules for those of you who were not here last year, and a refresher for those that were. So number one, the weather is much better today.
The weather for this year's event ended up being probably as perfect as it can be. I mean, we literally had the sun gods shine down on us. Again, we were wondering if we were going to have enough bikes for this year's event.
So last year you guys broke this record with 265 motorcycles. The key is you need 266 today. I know you're right on the cusp. So anyone that's in here who does not have a wristband, I would encourage you to sign up so you can participate in this record attempt, because they need every single person.
So going into this year's event, I thought, as long as the weather's great, as long as we beat the numbers from last year, this thing has legs. So we know at that point that we can make this a yearly event and have it start take notice, not just locally, not just nationally, but internationally, because it has attracted all the people from international realms such as Czechoslovakia, Australia, next year England, Canada, Mexico. I mean, we are bringing in people from everywhere to share a passion of Indian motorcycle. All in all, if we know this event can be successful a second time, second year in a row, we know we can launch this into something that it could grow in such an enormous rate that it won't be able to contain itself.
Faster than a hairpin trigger. Don't you say, don't you say it. Don't say, don't you say it. One breath, it'll just break it. So shut your mouth and run me like a river. Shut your mouth, baby, stand and deliver. Holy hands, holy, make me a sinner. Like a river, like a river. Shut your mouth and run me like a river. Choke this love till the veins start to shimmer. One last breath till the tears start to wither. Like a river, like a river. Shut your mouth and run me like a river.
Before I announce the results, is that you were less than 10 motorcycles off of the count last year. Oh, someone's voting already. So, in Mark to beat, you set last year with 265 motorcycles. I counted all of them today, and you had 274 to do.
You know, being part of a world record, particularly with motorcycles, for me and my family, that's what a cool story. You know, I mean, that's something I want to tell, you know, my grandkids. I just think that's so cool.
We have more people this year than we had last year, and hopefully next year we'll have even more, and it's just going to keep growing and getting better. And I can't wait till we actually get to the full 500 people.
It was nerve-wracking before the ride because we weren't exactly sure what we had. We did some counts. Our counts were shorter than what we had, so it was good. But once we heard what the final tally was, it was just relief. It felt so good. Setting a record and then breaking it with the same crew, well, at least most of the same crew, it just shows the determination of the riders that made up that record and then broke it again.
You know, I'm one of a very small number, you know, and to go down in the history books like that and see my name along with, you know, a record-setting day, you can't beat that. You know, I'm a piece of history, and, you know, not only personally for me, but, you know, for the world. But, you know, this is a great thing, you know, and, you know, I didn't come here for the Guinness World Record, though. I came here for the charity. You know, I love what he does for the vets. I love what he does for kids. I love what he does for Native Americans in general. You know, he puts a name and a face to Indian motorcycle that, you know, people where I'm from can relate to. You know, and to me that speaks a lot. That speaks volumes.
After the world record breaking event, it actually feels a little surreal to know that you were able to create that with people wanting to help. Everybody that came to that event wanted to help in one way or another. They just wanted to be a part of it. And that's really the biggest goal you can accomplish, where people come in and feel accomplished along with you. The Guinness World Record breaking part of it is great. I mean, it would be great to have all these certificates of constant Guinness World Record breaking events, but eventually even that will get stale. There were people that came to last year's event that didn't make it to this year's event, and there were people that made it to this year's event that didn't make it to last year's event. And there are people that made it to both. And there are people that are going to want to continue coming to this event. And so when you have that kind of mentality, that kind of enthusiasm, those are the people I don't want to let down. We're all adults acting like kids here, doing something fun and doing it because we love the brand, because we love the event, because we love the people that keep coming back. So you look at it from a standpoint at the very end of, this was a success, I want to do it again, and how do I make it better?
Oh, Father, tell me, do we get what we deserve? Oh, we get what we deserve. And where down we go, 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 go. Oh, where down we go, 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 go. So where down we go, 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 way down we go. down we